Hello, welcome to reading, writing, productivity sprints, whatever you want to call them. It's been a while. I feel like I was trying to remember the last time I did this and I can't, which is generally a bad sign. But I thought, who do I want to catch up with? Who do I want to jump back into sprints with? And of course, I thought of you, Elizabeth, because we've had many good discussions on sprints. So I thought it'd be nice for us to catch up and have a little chat about what we're reading and doing, and then do some productivity stuff. So, hello, it's nice to see you.
Yes, nice to see you too. And we were just saying behind the scenes that it's been a while for me too. I did a couple of hangouts on my channel, like not sprints necessarily, but it's been a while since I've done this, so I'm super excited.
I find there's just something magical. Like if you need to get something done, it's really good productivity for me. I feel really accountable, like to not pick up my phone or turn on the TV. Like if I'm sprinting, I'm like, no, I'm going to be good because I'm being observed. So I'm working on a few different things. Did you see that I've got an agent for my middle grade books now?
Yes, that's exciting.
Yeah, so that's a new. I've kind of always wanted to write younger children's books, and then my son is coming of an age where he's not quite reading middle grade books, but he's like this close. So I was like, well, if I write one now, by the time it comes out, I think he'll be able to read it. And I made it a little boy main character, and it's a spooky book, of course, because I've been trying to buy him spooky books with a little boy as the protagonist for so long, and for his age range, there just isn't anything. Like there's Isadora Moon and there's Amelia Fang, and he loves those, but I wanted it to be a little boy that feels more like him. So that's my main thing. I've got it here.
Excellent.
I'm doing a final check through because my new agent wants to read it again over the Easter holidays. So hopefully not long after that it'll be going to publishers. So fingers
Crazy.
crossed.
Wow.
Yeah, it's exciting because I feel like it fits nicely with the YA that I'm doing. Like it's still, when you hear what it's about, I can't really say yet. When you hear what it's about, you'll laugh and just be like, yeah, it's just a toned down version of what you usually do. And in a way, it's more Buffy than anything I've ever written, but for very young children. And yeah, when it'll all become clear when it hasn't been properly announced. Like I've kind of said that I've got an agent because I just wanted publishers to see. I was like, just in case any publishers are watching my page, I'm gonna say that I've got an agent, and then yeah, we'll go from there. So yeah,
Well,
that's the main thing.
yeah, and it's kind of nice because like you're going into a new genre, but it's still going to have those undercurrents of like this is an Amy book.
It 100% does. And like I said, the overarching feel of it, I think, is very much what I've been wanting to write. And it was kind of a challenge to write it for that age because I was like, okay, no murder, got it. No kissing, got it. And then I was like, what do I write about then? Because that's like 80% of my core content. So it took a while to figure out like what mystery would be palatable for like a 7 to 8 year old child. And I know some people write murder mysteries for that age, but I was like, I don't want to do that. Like I want it to be very kind of safe intro to horror and thriller themes for a really young child. So yeah, that's my main thing I want to work on. And I'm reading this book, which I think you'll like. I've just started reading it, Slayers of Old. Have you heard of it?
Ooh. I think I saw a glimpse of it, but I haven't had a chance to look into it yet. I know I saw it somewhere. It could have been from you, possibly.
Possibly. It's different than what I thought. For some reason, I thought it was set in a retirement home for Slayers, and that they live. There's these three people who were part of the like very active parts of the supernatural community, and they're all kind of retirement age. But there's new stuff. Well, maybe not even quite retirement age. Like I think one of them's maybe in the 50s, one's a lot older, and then there's one somewhere in between. Um, and yeah, bad stuff is brewing, so they're kind of having to pick up where they left off. And like there's a Slayer character in particular, she hasn't slayed for a long time, and she's just kind of wrestling with how she feels about it. 'Cause it's similar to Buffy, like she left on kind of not great terms with the equivalent of the Watchers Council. So yeah, I've just met all three main characters, and that's all I've read. But hopefully, I'm going to read a bit of that because it's really fun, and I'm quite intrigued by this cat on the cover, which has multiple eyes and sort of I never know how to say it. How do you say the creature that's CT like Thulu?
Oh, Cthulhu?
Yeah, the tentacled ones. I never know how to say that, but I'm getting like cat Cthulhu vibes from the little creature on the
It'll
front.
be
So
interesting to see what the tie-in is with that.
yeah, I don't really know. And I don't think I've met a cat yet. So I'm just kind of waiting for some tentacled cat to make itself known. But yeah, it's fun so far. It reminds me of I read the Autumn Springs Retirement Home Massacre, I think it's called. not long ago, and I really enjoyed that. And it's similar vibes to that, really, apart from not as slashery, I don't think.
Nice. I it's so funny. I was saying to Matt the other night, I'm like, how is it possible that 2025, I really struggled last year and kind of in the end of 2024 too. I'm like, why are my books not quality reads? Like I had, the 3, 4 star, but it wasn't anything that blew me out of the water. And in the first 3 months of this year, it's just like 5 star, 5 star, five. Like, what is going on? So I'm actually working on 2 books right now. One on audio and one on my e-reader, and both of them are headed for 5 stars. And I'm like, I don't know.
It's a weird thing, isn't it? Like, were you just reading the wrong books for you at that time, or was there just something in the zeitgeist of books that just wasn't? Because it's
Yeah,
interesting with books, isn't it? Like sometimes I read a book and I feel really ambivalent, and then I go on social media and the first thing I see is loads of people like saying how much they love it, and I'm like, well, just goes to show it's really subjective, isn't it?
it is. And it's like, I don't know. I found last year a lot of people were struggling with their reading. So I don't know if it was something in the atmosphere or just real life
Well,
things
yeah,
in a
yeah.
depression. I don't know. But I think the other thing too is I discovered a few new readers last year. And so now I'm reading books from those authors, which the first books I read by them were 5 stars. So like
Yeah.
CJ Cook now has become like one of my favorite authors of all
Who
time.
is that one?
CJ Cook.
Oh, I don't think I've read any of their books. I'm gonna have to put this into my Google. I always do this. I
Oh,
put titles into Google and then I look during the sprints.
so I read The Lighthouse Witches in the
Oh,
fall
okay.
and blew me away. I thought it was great. And then I read The Last Witch, which takes place in Germany in the 15th century witch trials. And now I'm reading another one from her that's called The Book of Witching. That's like this dual timeline of like past and present. And she has a lot of, well, it's witchy, obviously, but she has a lot of history and a lot of folklore wrapped into her books. And I think that's kind of what's pulling me into it. And then I think in 2024, I believe, it could have been 23. I read The Exorcist House by Nick Roberts. Have you read that one?
No, I was gonna say I've heard the name Nick Roberts before, but again, I don't think I've read any of his
You
books.
gotta
I'm gonna
read this one. It's so good. And then I don't think I even knew there was one. And then I downloaded the sequel. There's actually a third book now, but I downloaded the second book like months ago, finally picked it up, and it's just as good, if not better, than the first one.
I love that. I love it when a series. I'm really bad with series usually. Like I don't pick up the future books or I lose that kind of joy, that you got at the beginning. So if you find a series that you really love, I've just got into the Dungeon Crawler Carl books. Have you seen those around?
No.
So basically, there's a catastrophic event over the whole world where anybody who was indoors, like all the buildings get squished. So if you happen to be outdoors, you have a choice to stay on the surface of the earth and fend for yourself or go down into these dungeons that have opened up. And there's so many levels that you have to get through, almost like a computer game. And the further you get, the more kind of leverage you have with this alien race that's taken over the world, basically. So it's completely out there. And I started reading it on the way back from Yalk, I think it was last year. So I was more exhausted than ever before. And I was reading this really crazy book, like, am I hallucinating now? Like, what is happening? And it just really grabbed me. And I'm on about the fourth book in the series now. And again, like, I'd say I'm not loving it as much as the first one, just because that one just hit me from nowhere. A bookseller put it in my hand in the Waterstones and was like, I'm not letting you leave until you buy this book. And I was like, rude, but also, you know me as a bookseller I see every year at the Comic Con. So I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to you because we've got to know each other at this point. And yeah, she was absolutely right. I've really enjoyed it. And yeah, like you, I think this year I've had like some really good standout reads. That was technically the end of last year, I think, but I hardly read anything last year compared to normal. And this
Yeah.
year I'm like properly back to where I normally am.
Well, and it's funny because I was saying to Matt, I'm like, I know a lot of people in the booktube community that their reading was just completely off last year. I think I read like 42 books last year, which sounds like a lot for like most people, but for me, I usually read between 80 and 100. So it was way down. The caliber was down. I just couldn't get into anything. And then, but I was also sick too, so that might have had something to do with it. And but I said to Matt, I'm like, but other people aren't reading books because they're writing or they're doing podcasts or whatever. So I almost felt bad because like I wasn't being as productive as I would have liked to have been, but I also had a 4-pound tumor in my belly. So
This is it when you've got big stuff going on like that. I mean, you can't concentrate on anything else. And even before you really know about it, like you know something's wrong, right? Like you can't concentrate while they're trying to figure stuff out, I guess, until you actually know like a treatment plan and stuff. And then you've got to go through the treatment plan, you know?
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, it's a lot. But do you feel now you kind of coming out of the health stuff and the,
Yeah, so
headspace
20
stuff?
like last year, I had known it was there, but it got a lot bigger and then I started having problems because of the problems,
Mm.
which made things difficult. And then it became almost like an emergency situation. So they finally got me in. But then, having a hysterectomy is kind of big for anybody, whether it's
Mm.
laparoscopic or not. And then, luckily it wasn't a complete hysterectomy. So I didn't go into menopause, but it was still a hormonal shift for me because I had a hormonal IUD. So my body took months to try to re-regulate after that, plus the healing from the surgery itself. So I'd say, for the good deal of 2025, I was dealing with all that. So, that affects like our joy and what we can concentrate on, like you said, and, our goals and productivity and the whole thing. So, and then we had a really rough winter. So I feel like now that it's coming into spring, I'm feeling better. Work is still work, but, for the most part, like I'm feeling much better than I was last year.
That's really good. And yeah, I think work kind of is rough when it's all that's going on as well. Like if you've got bad home stuff and work is, work. Like you haven't got the nice things that you're doing to look forward to it. Like when I was working full time in an office, I was like looking forward to going home to write every night. So that was kind of keeping me going. But if you're not well too and you're just kind of working but then not actually getting to live your life fully as well, yeah, I get that.
Well, and it was like, so I had my surgery, and then a lot of people know because I was posting about it on social media. I went back into the hospital because I ended up with post-op infections, and spent a week back in the hospital with 2 IV lines going, and they were pumping me full of all kinds of stuff. And you would think that I would use that time to relax and read, but it's like when I don't feel well, I can't read, like I can't
Mhm.
concentrate. But one of the I got really worried because like I had a lot of brain fog and stuff, and I was asking the nurse about it, and I did look it up, and one of the side effects of one of the medications that they had me on was like cognitive slowness. And let me tell you, like this thing was making me dumb. Like it was
Yeah,
wild.
that's
It
scary.
was totally wild, and I was dizzy and had that detached feeling, and it was awful. So, it took me a while to get out of all that. And so I figure this year is going to be a good one for book hunting, reading, writing, doing all the things.
And building yourself back up, like not kind of having to rush into it 1,000 miles an hour. Like you can just kind of do it for the fun, like not feeling like you've got to go 100%.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying not to put too much pressure on myself this year because I think like as influencers, if you want to use that term, we often do, right? And then we do too many things. I kind of put my book club on ice for a bit. I haven't been posting as much, like doing weekly sprints and all of that kind of thing, like we were talking about, and just kind of taking it easy and trying to build back into it.
Yeah, and figure out which parts you really enjoy. Because I was really enjoying my book club, but I was finding it really time consuming and like stressing about trying to get the book read. And then other people were telling me, like, oh, I'm stressing to get the book read. And I was like, actually, it's meant to be fun. So I just put that on hold. And I thought if I
Yeah.
feel like going back to it at some point, but at the moment, I just can't because I've got
Yeah.
three
And I
jobs
felt the same way with
and a
mine.
young
Same
child. And I'm
thing.
like,
Yeah.
I just can't yeah, I can't find any more time in the day. Like I was talking to a friend, like I want to get a bit more like savvy about social media too. And it's like I know that this is something that would be really helpful as an author, but I don't have the time or the headspace, to look into it and research and like plan out properly. Generally, I just go like, oh, I've bought a new copy of Dracula today. Film that, put it on the shelf, done. Like that's as much thought goes into my social media right now. And I think that if I could be more mindful, I'd maybe get a bit of traction with it. But I don't really have time to be mindful, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I
Um,
totally get it. And I've tried a few times to get ahead of like scheduling posts and stuff like that. So you don't have that on the fly kind of, oh, I haven't posted in a while, here's something. But, it's just another thing on the pile of everything we're already doing. And, you have a life outside of BookTube, so do I. And, so it's hard.
It is, and I think that the people who do it really well, like, are really consistent and really kind of like it's a lot of their focus. And I know that it's not mine right now, but I've started working on a new book this year that I'm really excited about. That my because now the problem is now I've got two agents too. I'm like, I'm not saying my agent, I'm like, my one agent is reading this thing, my other agent is reading this thing. So I've kind of doubled my workload in a way, but hopefully it means I've doubled my opportunities and my, you know, because I think publishing, as you probably have gathered, it's not the easiest road. I think it takes so much time and effort and work to be paid. Sometimes not a great deal for a book, although hoping for that changing this year. That's my my hope and my plan and my manifestations. Putting it out there, I'm going to start earning money from publishing. But it is hard work for sometimes relatively little reward. So I'm just this part of this year for me is diversifying a little bit and just rather than writing one book a year and then see how that does. It's like, well, if I try and write like the openings of 4 or 5 books, and it's giving myself more chances, I think. So yeah, I think that's where my focus is really now, like just thinking about my writing career and seeing if I can, because I feel like it's kind of going really well in a lot of ways, but I just want to push myself on now and do a little bit more.
Yeah, the growth is always, I think, a good element to have. And instead of looking at, oh, I'm doubling my work, to look at it as doubling the opportunity. I think that's the mindset that we want to stay in for sure.
Yeah, and I read this thing a while ago about like taking rejection as kind of a badge of honor, and I've started like asking for a lot of stuff and being really surprised when generally I get the like yes. Like I realized I'm on quite a lot of blogger lists still, like review lists, and publishers still seem happy to me to send me stuff even though I don't have a blog anymore. And I realized I was on the Titan Comics list, and I just emailed them and I was like, oh hey, could you add me to the Titan Books list too? And I was like, oh, they're going to say no. And straight away they were like, yeah, sure, you're on it. And I was like, oh, is that all I needed to do? Like send a quick email.
All you need to do is just reach out.
Yeah, because Titan's become one of my favorite publishers. Like a lot of what I read in the UK, like a lot of the horror stuff currently seems to be published by Titan. And I was like, oh, and the same like with one of my agents, he used to ask me to write a full book before he sent it out to publishers. And I was like, oh, hey, can I write just the opening of a book and see what happens? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, I've just saved myself a lot of work by just asking a simple question. So I'm trying to be better with stuff like that, like just kind of putting stuff out there. It's like, this seems like a logical idea. They could say no, but I'm going to ask it anyway. And that seems to be serving me quite well this year, kind of seeking out opportunities for myself and stuff.
Yeah, and learning the tricks and, not, working smarter, not harder, I guess is kind of the theme of that. So that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And I think that I'm starting to see things bear fruit too, like say the Comic Cons that I've been going to every year. I've started to get like nice emails from people like, oh, we saw you at this Comic Con, so do you want to come and do this event? And I just got my rota for an upcoming Comic Con and I was like, wow, I'm doing a lot of events. So I feel like a lot of the work I've been putting in for years and years is kind of, I feel like it's a good year. I saw a thing about my star sign today and it was like, for this particular star sign, like 2026 is your year. And I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling that. Like, I've had a few years where I've been really happy, but I don't think I've had like a big breakthrough in lots of stuff. I've just kind of carried on doing what I was doing. And I feel like this year might be a bit of a kind of personal, professional, everything breakthrough year, hopefully.
That's good. And I'm super excited about the middle grade because it's a different level. And like you said, it doesn't have the murder and kissing and relationships and all of that kind of stuff that we use for filler and in the YA genre. So that'll be good. And
Yeah,
it'll be a challenge for you to definitely bring
it
that down a
is.
notch.
Yeah, it really stripped it back. And I was like, what? And I was just thinking about my son and like his friends and the kids I've taught, because at this point I've taught hundreds of children. And I'm like, what do they actually care about? And like, what do they find embarrassing? And generally it's us, it's the parents, the adults, the teachers. We're super embarrassing. So I've just kind of channeled a lot of that. And it's not one of those like really gross out books because I'm not a big like kind of toilet humor person, but I think it's got some like little boy humor in, like, you know, talks of monkeys' bums at one point and stuff like that. Like, and as soon as I'm like reading bits to my son, he's like, monkey's bum, that's brilliant. And I'm like, well, there you go. I've got the 6-year-old seal of approval. All I needed to do was put the word bum on the page. And I could see him like then reading little bits of what I was reading, and he can't read it all yet. But he's doing so well with his reading. That's another really nice thing recently. Like, I just feel like we've now got 2 big readers in the house, and not only one of them is an adult. Kev reads a lot, but he only reads my books generally. So he rereads my stuff, or he reads my current. So he'll read my current work in progress. Then he'll go back and read one of my old books. So he's only ever really reading. So he's reading a lot, but he's reading stuff that I've written. So I need to read faster so he has new material, basically. Write faster even. Let's see what the people in the comments are saying, and then maybe we could do a sprint. Hello, Stephen. It's so nice to see people's names on the screen that I've only seen in my comments recently. I have missed this. Hello. Yeah, I've been saying to Kev for about a month, let's do a sprint this week, and then something would happen. And I was determined it was going to happen. Do you know what, Stephen? You were the person that reminded me last year, and I only realized today that that was happening. And then it got to near bedtime, and I was like, wait, what is the optimum thing for bedtime? Do I put them forward now? And I decided that if I put them forward, it was going to look like his bedtime was later. And I was like, but then that would be good. But then I'd have to get up at 5 a.m. So the clocks in our house have stayed where they are for now. And in the morning, we're going to put them forward. Otherwise, yeah, we'd have to get up an hour earlier. Yeah, this is me, Caroline. I never know. I think I would have found out when my phone, when my phone automatically changed the time. That would have been it if I'd not realized. Yes, and then Caroline said we talked about that. On the same wavelength, me and Caroline, as usual. Yes, I did too. Do you plan these things? Like, have you got like an idea of where everything is going to go, or do you kind of just think of stuff as you go along that you like?
I have a general idea of what I want done. Usually it's pretty solid, but I also like to give my artist, who is also a fellow spooky Halloween type person, a little bit of free range as well. So I give him kind of generally what I want to do. And then usually on the day of, we just keep adding and adding and adding. And then it just turns out with this big thing.
So has the same person done all of your work?
He has, yeah.
I think that's a good way to be. I always get really nervous with people when they're like, oh, hey, I'm going to try a new person for each one. And I'm like, oh, I don't have any tattoos, but I feel like if I did, I would have to really super trust the person who is putting ink on my body, you know?
Well, yeah. And so my artist, I wanted black and gray, and I wanted black and gray realism. So he's a specialty in that particular style.
Okay.
So that's the first thing, is finding someone that's a specialty in the style that you want. And he's very well known, like here in my community. He's now moved out of the community back into the big city. And now he's like winning awards and stuff like that. So I'm like, I've got to get mine finished, because soon I'm not going to be able to get in to see you.
How much more have you got done, like, before you're like happy and done? Like, have you got a way to go? Or?
Yeah, well, I had my thigh piece, my left thigh piece, done yesterday. So I still have my right thigh. My whole back needs to be done. I've got a little bit of line work on the back of my neck, but that needs to be done. And then a few fill-ins, and then my right leg, obviously. But it's funny, because I always said there was certain areas that I would never tattoo, and now it's like, So we're thinking about doing, like, extending my sleeves down into my armpits and kind of down my sides. And I'm like, I don't know about the armpits, but we're gonna do it.
Yeah, that sounds painful. I don't know. There's certain places where I think I'm so sensitive. Like, I don't think, like my wrist, I don't even like people touching my wrist. So the thought of somebody like drawing on it, I'm like, oh, I don't think I could do it. Like, I don't think I could stay still.
Yeah, my knee and the back of my knee yesterday wasn't too fun.
Were you just wanting to giggle, or is it like, I don't know, it's a different feeling, I guess, to
yeah, the front of my knee was kind of a weird feeling. It's kind of a little bit painful, but it's an odd feeling. But the back of your knee is just pure, it's just pure agony.
Oh, so at least you'd one down, and then have you got the other side to do?
One to go.
Yeah. Oh gosh, you're a braver person than me, honestly. I'm I'm very, very scared of needles. So even talking about it, like my toes have curled right up. Yeah, I have to eat, like when I was pregnant was the hardest because they were just drawing my blood all the time. And honestly, if I'd not been pregnant and like they were saying, obviously you need to get this done, I was like, absolutely not. It's my probably the only thing that I'm really consistently really scared of, like real world stuff. So I am very infrequently teaching. Last academic year, I did 1 day a week because it was the school I used to teach at. This year, I've just been really selective. So if a school that I really want to work at has like come to the agency and asked for somebody to do some work, I've done it. But I'm so busy writing now. I'm doing every day kind of carved up into three. So I do my own writing, I do some freelance writing, and then I do proofreading. So the teaching, sadly, it doesn't pay as well as the other stuff I do. And I enjoy it less because although I love children and being around them, like if I could just play with children all day, then that'd be great. But it's the actual, like the academics of what you're doing now is so difficult. Like I don't know what it's like in Canada, but the level of what children are required to do now in the UK, it's really hard for a lot of kids, I think, to get to the expectation. And then the teachers have to mark it all, assess it all. It's become really intense. So yeah, that's a long answer, Robbie. I don't know whether you're in teaching or have any experience of it. But yeah, it's become, sadly, I think, a really difficult job for me anyway. It kind of consumed me as a person, and I didn't want that. Oh wow, yeah, honest, for real, teachers should be paid so much more. And I think that supply teaching too, I don't know where you're based, Robbie, but in the UK, like the agency that I'm with, like the pay just, compared to the other stuff I do isn't really comparable. Like if I do a school visit as an author, I get paid probably twice as much. So it's more of an incentive to do that. And also I really enjoy that because I'm kind of going in and talking about writing and trying to get kids engaged, which generally doesn't feel like what you're doing as a primary teacher. You've got all this knowledge to get through, so you want the kids to be engaged, but you're just kind of also getting through at a really fast pace rather than being like, oh, I'm going to write a spooky scene today, or I'm going to teach kids how to create a vampire or something. Like this is what I do on my school workshops. So if I could teach like that all the time, I'd probably still be teaching, but sadly I think a lot of people are still doing a really great job as a teacher, as I'm sure you are, Robbie. And yeah, it's sadly for me at the moment, I just can't. I didn't have the headspace to write when I was teaching. Like I'd finish the day, I'd mark basically until bedtime. So I had no physical time. And then I was exhausted. Whereas working in an office, that was when I wrote my books, when I had a full-time office job. So I'd come home and still feel, tired, but not emotionally and physically exhausted. How about you, Elizabeth, before you go to sprints, where are you at with the writing? Because I know you've kind of been on hold a little bit. You mentioned that this year you might do some.
Yeah, everything kind of went on hold, especially when I got sick, because I just kept increasingly kind of sliding down a ladder. But it was just a few weeks ago, because I had like the base of what I wanted to write, obviously, because it's based on my family's house. But about a couple of weeks ago, I got a hook. And it came out of nowhere, and I was like, that's it. And I'm like, I've got to sit down and do this now, because that hook, I think, is what's going to bring everything together.
That's usually how ideas come to me. Like, I know I'm going to write a book about X thing. So, it was this, I vaguely knew I wanted to write a spooky middle grade book. And then from nowhere, the first paragraph of the book came to me, and I put it in a WhatsApp to my friend, like, as I was thinking it, like, is this good? And she was like, oh my God, write this book. And I was like, okay, I'm going to write it. And literally, as soon as I had that, and the same with, I've started writing a book that I struggled with for months, and I loved the idea and the premise, but I could not find my way into it at all. And then I thought of the first line, and it just unlocked. It was like I leveled up and I just unlocked the rest of it. So yeah, it's a weird thing. I think I have to let stuff stew for a while, and then all of a sudden there'll be the one thing that like sucks me in, and then that's it. Like I'm in that book then, and I have to write it. Which I'm looking forward to. I'm kind of in the middle of a few different things that I need to get off my plate. And then probably after the Easter holidays, I can start working on this book that I really want to work on. So I kind of need to clear my administrative plate, which is what I'm going to do some of tonight, like finish and edit. Because I enjoy editing, but I think that drafting a new book is like, I really need to have written probably a couple of books by the end of this year to achieve everything I want to achieve. So
nice.
Yeah, and this is it. I'm trying to write more because last year I kept trying to write new books and then edits would come back on the day and the night, and I was like, nope, I'm gonna have to put my work in progress aside and do some edits. And because I kept changing editors because they went through a bit of a restructure, so it kind of got edited more than it normally would. So I ended up with less writing time than I normally would. So yeah, last year it was a bit frustrating writing wise, but this year I've totally done the opposite, and I'm like doing as much as I can. So yeah, everything does. It feels to be on the up now, which is good. I think that last year I was a bit frustrated a lot of the time. I was like, when you're doing too many things and you feel like you're not doing any of them well, like that's what I did last year. Whereas this year I feel more focused. So saying that, we're gonna do a sprint. I'm going to hopefully finish reading the book that is upside down. That's a really good start. I've got about 18 pages left to read, which I'm just doing a kind of light touch now. Like I'm fairly happy with it. So yeah, hopefully I'm going to read that. I think we'll do 40 minutes. So what are you going to read one of your books in this sprint?
Actually, I'm gonna go make myself a smoothie, and I want to work on my book a little bit. So I'm
Oh,
probably
awesome.
this afternoon.
Hooray. What time is it where you are?
It is 1:30.
Oh, so you're still at that kind of, if you're anything like me, I'm becoming less awake now and less kind of creatively driven, but the sprints are kind of motivating me. So I'm going to try and get my reading done and then see where we are. I may do some Lego too. Let me just show you my little Lego thing before I've been building this Wednesday Lego, and I've just done like things, little hand, which I think is really cute. So I
Oh,
may do some and it even comes because it's kids Lego with a nail varnish bottle. You can like a pretend nail varnish, so you can pretend to paint his nails. So yeah, I may treat myself to some Lego later. Wow, Kev's downstairs in record time. Hopefully, so that means a small person has gone to sleep. In the 7 o'clock, so that's quite impressive. Okay, so we may have a nice quiet evening at our house. This is good. So, can I remember how to put the timer on? I think I can. So, let's do 40 minutes and we will catch up afterwards. See you in a little bit. Hello. It's funny how it's a while since I've done this, but it all just came back then, like how to get it all sorted. How did you get on?
Pretty good. I haven't actually started like actively writing yet. I'm just compiling incidents that I would like to include in my book. So,
Do you use any kind of planning structure like Save the Cat or anything like to kind of give you an order if you need it?
not really. The only like I don't follow any kind of I guess set guide. I want to do a little bit of preparation by just like point forming like my own
Yeah.
experiences. And then I want to work on this hook that is to kind of build it out a bit because that part of the story will be fictional but worked in, and then just go from there. I'm just gonna wing it.
It's whatever you think is going to work for you. I know when I interviewed CJ Tudor, she said she goes into a book with a vague idea of what it's going to be about, basically, and just starts writing. And my friend Naomi does that too. Whereas I've got the friends who do like a 15,000 word outline, chapter by chapter, scene by scene. And I'm somewhere in between the two. I have started using Save the Cat to go, okay, I know what's going to happen at the beginning. I know what's going to happen at the end. And I find that it helps me to just have a little bit of a structure. And I don't do all of it. Sometimes there'll be a step in it and I'm like, oh, that doesn't apply to this, or I'm not going to use that. But yeah, I do find it quite useful to just, and also sometimes like with this middle grade one that I'm working on now, I do that at the editing stage. I write it out just to see if the structure looks kind of like it resembles a sensible story arc, like I retrospectively match it to that and see if I've got all the main ingredients. So yeah, I didn't manage to finish reading what I wanted to read because I'm really tired. I ended up reading quite slowly and I was like, I don't want to miss something. So, and also Kev's watching some distracting TV. I don't know. Do you get Would I Lie to You in Canada?
Doesn't sound familiar, but I don't want to watch much TV, honestly. So we could.
What's that? Oh yeah, Kev says he thinks that people like Tom Green might have been on it over there,
Oh, okay.
or like there've been versions of it. But yeah, basically it's UK celebrities, and they tell a story, and the people on the other team have to guess whether it's a true story or a lie.
Oh,
So they get these people like, is it what's he called, Bob Mortimer? Is it? So he'll tell a story, and they've got to ask him questions and try and unpick. And sometimes it's quite funny because they're having to make something sound true that is actually a lie, or they're telling a true story that's so outrageous nobody believes it. And yeah, I just kept getting distracted by that because I haven't watched it for ages, and it's quite funny. I don't watch a lot of comedy, but occasionally something just tickles me, and then I'm like, I was a bit engrossed. So yeah, so I really still got, I think, like 12 pages left to read, so I'm gonna really try in the next sprint and just get my head down and do that. I've changed two main scenes in it, and being that it's middle grade and it's quite short, like two scenes are quite a big thing. So I'm just going through the book and checking that I haven't mentioned those things anywhere else, because I'll occasionally do like a little reference to something that's happened and I don't remember that I've done it, and then I reread and I'm like, oh yeah, that's not true anymore. So I'm just trying to check that I've not left any like accidental errors in. And I just figured out like I'm just spotting some really bad spelling mistakes. Like I've read this so many times and I've just spelt the word here wrong. Like I used the here with your ears, not over. And I think your eyes sometimes just skim over stuff, don't they? I'm like, oh gosh, I'm a proofreader by trade and I still miss that. I'm glad I've caught it now. That's the main thing. So yeah, so I'm going to try and have one more working sprint, and then I may do one more where I'm just watching TV or something. Are you going to try and do a bit of writing in the next one, or do you think you're going to be figuring
yeah.
out
So
stuff?
I want to get like I'm kind of on a bit of a roll with putting together like these bullet points. So I want to get those. I'm at the point now where I'm like I have to get this out of my head. Like it's been in my head for so long, for so many years, and I'm like now that I've got that like trigger in the storyline, I'm like, okay, now I have to get this out of my head. So I just want to do that, even if I don't do anything else for however long, at least I've got that part written down. It almost might work too, I guess, if I was like dictating it into my phone or something. I mean,
Yeah.
that's something else I could do too.
Yeah, I mean, you're at the nice point where you could decide to get it published down the road, but you're not writing it for anybody else right now. Like, I think I'm at the point now where I'm doing it with a certain amount of pressure. Like, I'm like, okay, I know that my agent's going to send it out on this date, so I've got to get it done by then. And like, even if I haven't got a deadline for certain things, I'm really conscious that the longer I take, like the longer it'll be till a new book comes out. So I think when you're early on in the journey, it's worth like taking your time and kind of not rushing, because like nobody's making you, and as soon as you get a book deal, like you're on a ticking clock from then on. So yeah, I always say to people, like, please just take the time and enjoy it while you can. Amazing. Maybe I need to try and do them more, Caroline, because I wouldn't have done anything tonight. Yeah, I've been slacking too lately. I've been finding reading like better this year, but like we were saying earlier, like really up and down for me. And it's definitely about the books. Like as soon as I pick this one up, like I feel like I've just read for a little bit today, like, you know, a quick read, and I've read like 6 chapters, 80 pages. I think when it's a good book, I can read it really fast. Okay, so let's go and do another sprint. Are you okay for another 40 minutes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So I'm going to try and finish reading before I fall asleep. I can feel like I was yawning all the way through that one and then catching myself thinking, oh no, it's on camera. Everybody's just going to be looking down my throat. Sorry, everyone, if you did catch me mid yawn. And I'm going to obviously half watch Would I Lie to You that Kev's watching too, because, you know, I can't help. I feel like I can still function when the TV is on. Like I know some people can't write at all. I can sort of dip in and out. But yeah, I'm slightly less productive when it's on, but I don't care. It's like 8:20 p.m. here, so I'm not going to be, I don't think, at my freshest and most productive.
One more,
Okay.
40 more minutes, and then that's it. And then you could do something fun.
Yeah, I think I'm not going to read in the last one probably, or yeah. Oops, or watch TV. Sorry, I mute myself. I'm going to put the counter on now. See you all in a bit. Oh, that totally made me jump then. I thought I'd got ages left and just yeah, I was distracted watching the TV when it went off, I'm not gonna lie. I've still got a few pages left to read. I've still not managed to read this manuscript. I'm really enjoying it, but I'm tired. It's late now. How about you? Did you get on any better than me?
Well, it's funny because I was so gung ho at the beginning of the sprint, and I was just like, things were flowing out onto the page, and then I got like 25 minutes in, and I just hit a wall. But again, healing tattoos, so I'm probably just wiped.
Well, this is it. And I think that sometimes that happens with creativity. Like sometimes I can go for a really long stretch, and others I do like a really good session, and then I go, oh, that's all that's there. Like the tank is now empty. Especially if like you've got, like you said, healing. I think that you've done really well to do anything focused today. How long does it
Yeah,
normally
I'm
take to heal? Like, will you feel back to normal in a couple of days?
yeah, I'm usually a solid 2 days. Like, I really like getting tattooed on Fridays for that reason, but I
Yeah.
was also working while I was supposed to be relaxing and getting tattooed, so, um, like, if I go on a Saturday, Sunday doesn't seem like it's enough. So I'm
Yeah.
glad I still have tomorrow, because today is just I'm completely down and out, and then tomorrow I'll start to feel a little bit better. But yeah, Matt is about 4 hours into his session. So I think for the last sprint, I'll probably just chill, go upstairs, get the kitchen ready because he wants homemade mac and cheese for his birthday.
Aw, that sounds nice. Are you okay to do one more? Because I was thinking I can probably do one more, but yeah, I think I might be watching TV on the other side of the room for my contribution to sprints. I've resisted watching Kev's TV show, and now I'm gonna just dip in, I think. So how long will his session take? Is he like nearly done if he's 4 hours in?
Um, Probably like the guy that we see actually works really fast. Like you'd be surprised with the amount of detail that he can work out in, an hour and a half. So the last time he texted me, he was so he's getting the rest of his sleeve done, so a bit on the bottom and then on the top, on the inside of the top. And so they're starting on the inside. So I'm assuming he's probably going to be done pretty soon, but then he's got to get, wrapped up and all that stuff. He can get the Sanoderm, which is like the bandage that they put on. It's sticky. But of course, me being me, I have an adhesive injury or an adhesive
Oh.
allergy, so I can't use the Sanoderm. They have to wrap it in saran wrap.
Oh,
Um, so I took my bandage off last night and went to wash it, and especially on my knee, like when you skin your knee and it's like that hot stinging pain,
mm.
and trying to wash it, and yeah, so I'm pretty much done. I think he's probably going to be faring a little bit better with the arm than I did with the
Yeah,
leg.
ow, that all sounds, I don't know, like the needle thing, I've never gone beyond that to think about whether I would get a tattoo because I'm just like, no, but that's just kind of cemented it for me. I don't think the aftercare and stuff, I'm such a baby with like things like that. I think that you're very brave. I don't think I've got it in me. Like, oh, like every bit of it. I'm such a wimp with medical stuff. Okay, so I have done really badly. I've read, I think, all of the new ones except one, like the ones that have come out in the past few years. And I meant to go back and reread them all like steadily, and I've read the first one. Um, so how are you doing with them? Have you read many Elizabeth lately?
Not lately, but I do want to pick up one for Old School April. I was watching Cameron's video last week, and I think he's also reading a Buffy book. He's doing Halloween Rain, which I read Halloween Rain already. So, but I think I might pick up one from the Brown series because that's kind of where I started. And so whatever the next one is in the Brown series is probably what I'll pick up for next month.
Yeah, they were definitely the ones I had in the 90s. Like I remember those. I specifically remember the Angel Chronicles because I used to reread those because I was Team Angel when I was reading the Buffy books. And yeah, I don't think I progressed much further than that way back when. I think I have all of them now, but I don't think like anything that wasn't brown, I don't think I had those back then. They weren't that easy to get in England. Like you would go into bookshops and they'd maybe have a little section like that of a few of the brown ones, and that would be it generally. And not all bookshops had them. Like it tended to be more places like, like merchandise type like movie merchandise type shops would have them.
Was it actually like a big show when you were growing up? Like, was Buffy like a
It was
thing?
quite, I mean, where I live, it was quite niche, I think. And because like the internet didn't exist, I don't really know like in England what the vibe was. But like some of my friends watched it, some didn't. But I would say I was the most obsessed out of my friends. And it was only when I got older and I met other people and they did things like I used to record them and write the names of the episodes, you know, on the video cases. And I bought the box sets as they used to come out in these little bind ups, like 3 videos, I think, per set or something like that, or 2 videos. And so yeah, as I got older, I started to meet people who did the same, like kind of more extreme fan behavior. So yeah, I don't really know. How about you? Did you have like a group of people who were into it, or was it just you?
Yeah, it was pretty big here, and I think like if you were within kind of that clique of people that like that sort of thing, like they liked Are You Afraid of the Dark and Goosebumps, and you know, it was just kind of the next thing on the tier. So I remember it was pretty big like in the 90s when it originally came out. I remember watching the very first episode in my parents' living room, and I was because I had actually seen the movie when the movie came out, because most people are like, oh, that like they started with the show and then they went back and watched the movie.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I did. Yeah.
And but with me, it was the other way around. So the 93 movie I had rented, I don't know how many times. And then I was like, oh my God, they're coming out with a show. And I specifically, like, it's a core memory watching that very first episode, the first night that I came out. And it was just, then of course, there was a bunch of people at school talking about it the next day because most of us had watched the movie first.
See, I accidentally watched, I think it was Witch. So is that like episode 3? We were putting up the Christmas decorations. So I don't think it was even the first time it was on in the UK that I caught it. And it just, the telly was on. And, you know, there used to be 4 channels. So I just happened upon the Buffy one. And I was helping my mum decorate the tree. And then I just ended up abandoning the tree and watching this TV show that became like my show. And yeah, I think I did talk to people about it. And I think in England it must have been popular because there was merch and there were posters, like there were those, you know, really big posters of Angel. It was generally, and there was a Spike one that was pretty popular. So yeah, I think it's around, but just in my little friendship group, like I think people watched Charmed and they watched Buffy, but like I think they could have taken or leave and left them, some of my friends at that time, whereas I was like, all I want to do is watch Buffy and I just want to rewatch it every night. And if I'm sick of school, I'm going to watch Buffy on repeat. Like whatever videos I've taped at that time, I will be watching Buffy. So I think, I mean, even now, like given the default, I don't know what to watch. I'd probably just watch some Buffy. But it's been a bit. I think because my son's young, I'm now starting to think like, in about 5 years, I can maybe show him Buffy. So I'm almost like, do I just not watch it that much for a little bit and then like do a big rewatch in a few years'
Do a
time? I
big
don't know.
rewatch when he's at that age, and then you can experience his first time experiencing it.
Yeah, it's really nice to show him stuff. Like we watched the Goosebumps movie today, the Jack Black one. And I was a bit like, oh, you know, he's 6. Of course, he's my son, so he loved it. And I was
Yeah.
like, I was so glad. And because he's not very well, bless him today, we watched a couple of movies and I was like, at the end, what did you enjoy the most? He said Goosebumps. And I was like, yes, I've
But I
trained you
mean,
well,
Goosebumps
child.
is one of those things, like you'd probably give them the side eye to make sure they're okay, but it's got some like grossness and it's got some like, you know, monster ooey gooey. So that's
Yeah, I
probably what
looked
they're
at
gonna
him when
grasp
Slappy
onto.
came on, and well, I was like, "Is he scared of puppets?" And he was just laughing, and I was like, "Okay, cool." And then the werewolf came on, and I was like, "Oh, I forgot this is kind of a scary werewolf." And I was like, "Do you know what that is?" And he was like, "A wolf." And I was like, "Oh, it's a werewolf." And he was like, "Oh." And I was like, "Do you think that's scary?" And he was like, "No." So I thought, okay, I think we're fine. And generally, he isn't a kid who would pretend to not be scared. Like he'd tell me like occasionally we watch like this kid Star Wars TV show called Young Jedi's, and occasionally he'll be like, "I'm too scared," and want to turn it off because the pirates, it's get like there's like, you know, sky pirates who are getting a bit too intense, and he'll say, "Turn it off, I don't like it." So I'm not too worried about showing him scary, I mean, you know, kid scary stuff because I think he will tell me. Um, and he knows I like it too, so I think that kind of pushes him through sometimes. Like he knows that I've got the Goosebumps books and stuff, and I've said in a couple of years he'll probably want to read them, but not yet. I don't think we're quite there with the books because some of them are quite, I don't know, like depending on the book, some of them are quite psychological,
Like
and I think the
what
language
what
and
would you
stuff.
think for Goosebumps? Like, would you start them at like say 9?
Yeah, I think depending on the kids, like my instinct is that it depends on the reading level too. But yeah, I reckon 8 or 9 is probably good. Like a spooky kid could probably manage at 8. Like I think I used to teach year 3, which is age 7 to 8 kids, and I reckon some of those would have read them. Um, I read Point Horror in year 5, so I was like 9 to 10. Um, and I think that that was probably the right age. And I think Point Horrors are a little scarier than Goosebumps, personally.
Yes.
As a rule, as a whole, I think there's the occasional Goosebumps that really freak me out, and then there's the occasional Point Horror that is a bit lighter and sillier. So I think there's a bit of kind of, depending who wrote it, there's a bit of crossover. Whereas obviously Stein allegedly did all the Goosebumps. I have
Yeah,
some
and
slight doubts about whether some ghostwriters helped along the way.
yeah, Spooksville is a good one too.
Yeah, see, I don't think think I've seen Cameron talking about them, or maybe you or Kelsey. Like, I don't know. I see stuff sometimes that the 3 of you talk about, and I'm like, oh, I haven't heard of that. Like, I don't know whether some stuff is more like stateside Canada, or whether I just missed it and it was in the UK. Spooksville, I'm going to put that on my list of stuff that I'm going to look at the end.
Because that's even still a little bit younger than
Oh, is
Goosebumps,
it?
really.
Oh, there's a TV show of it. Is that linked to the books?
Oh, I didn't know there was a show.
Oh, it's
I
Christopher
would assume
Pike
it's the
books.
same
Cool.
thing.
Yeah, possibly. So, yeah, I haven't read that much Christopher Pike. One of my friends, when we were 11 and still reading them, I remember she was really into the Christopher Pike ones instead of Point Horror. And I don't think I really read that much Pike then. I've kind of collected a few now that I want to read, but and yeah, lately I've been rereading Goosebumps as opposed to Pike. So I don't think Point Horror as opposed to Pike. I don't think Pike wrote any Point Horrors, did he? Or not the
Uh,
UK ones that
just
I have.
one, I believe. It was Weekend.
Yeah, see, I don't think that came out as a Point Horror in the UK, as far as I'm aware, or certainly not in the I've collected the 90s ones that I actually read,
And I
and
think
it wasn't.
with Pike, he has this certain brand of horror that's a
Mm,
little bit, on the edge of being a bit too much.
mm,
And I kind of get the feeling that he probably went out on his own because, stuff like Point Horror and Scholastic and stuff, they would have put the reins on him a little bit. So then he kind of went out and wrote his own thing. But I haven't read any of them yet, but the Cheerleaders series from the 90s, he
oh yeah, they
actually wrote
were
one of
Point
those.
Horrors. Yeah, they were. Oh, I'm thinking of a different cheerleader because there's a
No,
cheerleaders.
yeah, the Fear Street
There's some Point
Cheerleaders.
Horror. Yeah, yeah, and there's also some Point Horror ones, I think.
There is, yes, and,
There are
but
so many cheerleaders.
this is not within the horror genre at all.
Okay.
It's like a YA romance kind of thing with the drama between
Okay.
this cheerleader team, and, Pike wrote one of those. I have it
Oh,
there.
really?
I haven't read it yet, but I think it would probably be a little bit off the wall knowing him.
That's what I like about Point Horrors, though. Like, I know, is it Peter Larangis who wrote the yearbook? Like, I remember finding that one really wild. And I think that the Point Horrors were a little bit manufactured. It was like, right, they've got to be this long. And I don't know how much of a premise and stuff they were given, but they seemed to be fairly contained, didn't they, to a certain type of book, like generally a
Yeah.
slasher. And along a few, there'll be a couple of fake scares and then they'll get to the real murders and stuff like that. Yeah, so maybe Pike didn't fit into that kind of
He
manufactured. And I
didn't.
think,
Yeah, he's a bit off the wall.
yeah, and some of the ones I think that were US point horrors weren't UK ones and vice versa. Like I think the UK got some that in the US were published under a different, like they weren't published under the point horror banner. So I find it quite interesting that there isn't a full crossover. Like I think if you compared a complete collection in the UK and US, like they wouldn't be exactly the same. And I know the covers were different and everything too.
Yeah, and a lot of the point horrors here, are scholastics, and they have that
Yeah.
splatter on the spine.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Scholastic owns them in the UK too, I
Do
think.
they?
Possibly. Last I checked, because they've gone out of print, haven't they? But so I'm just gonna double check. UK publisher, because I know that Scholastic have Goosebumps in the UK as well. Yeah, so Scholastic have the UK rights as well.
Okay.
Um,
So they must
but
have
I think
taken
it's
over completely.
but yeah, I think it's different branding though, the UK and US Scholastic. Scholastic in the UK is more like education type branding, like it's quite kind of I don't know, like quite clean and quite serious, if that makes sense. And they tend to stick to that, although they've got stuff like the Hunger Games. I think the Scholastic do really well at scooping up some of the more like what's going to be a classic of children's literature. I think they're quite good at like getting those titles, especially from like quite US led stuff, like say Goosebumps or Hunger Games. Like Scholastic are really good at kind of scooping up the UK side of it. It's interesting. Like compare, I'd love at some point to do a real deep dive comparing the two. I'm sure like Shelley, Toy, and Cameron would be all over it as well.
Yeah,
I think they
exactly.
need.
They know the ins and outs of all that stuff. I don't.
This is it. Yeah, like I've learned little bits of it from both of them over the years. Oh, happy birthday for tomorrow, Stephen. I hope you have a
Happy
lovely day.
birthday.
Right. I think we're caught up on the comments just about. Did you get them? Sorry, Stephen. I don't know where in the conversation we're up to. I think we've been chatting on. I'm not sure which bit we were what we were getting. Let's do one more sprint. I usually do a half an hour one at the end just because it's getting late for us. And I know that you need to get going for the birthday husband. But the birthday husband, that sounded weird. You can tell I'm getting tired. Like the verbal diarrhea has started. Like, sorry, I'm just like blah, 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 now. It's all coming out. Ask me for secrets at this point is probably the time. Okay, let's do a 30-minute sprint. I think I'm going to turn my camera off and watch TV, but I will be listening for the kitty, and then we can wrap up. So enjoy your mac and cheese. I will be asking you how you made it when you come back, because I don't think I've ever made proper mac and cheese before. So let's do 30 minutes and I'll see you on the other side. Hello. Let me start the kitty. And that's it. We've done 3 sprints, and I did just watch TV in the last one. It was good fun. I think we're going to go down a Would I Lie to You rabbit hole now and watch nothing but that for the next like 2 weeks. This is what happens with me and Kev. I don't know about you two. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I'd muted you then for a sec. So how did the mac and cheese go? Did we have cheesy success?
Not yet, because my grocery order just delivered. I wasn't expecting it quite yet, but so I had to take food off my front porch, but at least I didn't have to go to the store and get it. So
this is true. We tend to always get our groceries delivered because since COVID, we started doing that because I'd got a young, well, baby at the time. And it's just so handy. I feel like it's just really nice to like pick out what you need for the week. Although we invariably still have to go to the shop during the week, so we always, like milk and stuff like that, we always run out.
yeah, I really like it because like the introvert in me is like, it's so nice, but it's nice to get out and go, just browse. But I find that with the delivery, it kind of keeps me in budget too, because I'm not picking things off the shelf that I don't need.
Yeah, I mean, this is the problem though. When I go to do the little top up, the couple of items I need, and I come out with 20 items that I don't, and they're invariably like luxuries that would have just been best left there, like random cheeses and stuff. Like, oh, it's a nice fruity cheese, and before you know, I've spent £5 on cheese. So did you get any cooking done, or was it all just kind of taken up by?
No, it was all just, I got the kitchen clean. So everything is laid out now and all the food is put away. Matthew is done. So he's just getting wrapped up and then he'll be on the way home. So I'll have time to slap together his supper and then it'll be ready to go for when he gets here.
Oh, perfect timing. So how do you make mac and cheese? Do you go from like scratch or do you buy a kit for it?
No, well, I mean, sometimes we do buy like just the boxed mac and cheese. We like the Annie's organic, like shells, but he wanted the homemade stuff. So I got like real butter and cream and milk and the whole thing. So make the bechamel and then stir all the cheese into it. So I've got like a huge brick there, and I think I'll just use the whole thing because it's not often that we make something so luxurious. So I'll do that for him, but I'll throw in some broccoli and stuff. He does like my broccoli mac, so at least it has a little bit of nutrition in it and it's not just all saturated fat.
I mean, it's a birthday meal. I feel like if you're not going to have something like that on your birthday, when are you going to have it? I ate just pasta and sauce for my tea. Like, I wasn't feeling that hungry. And Kev went to the shop, so I was like, right, this is what I fancy, just like little pumpkin pasta squares. So yeah, no judgment here. I just had a huge plate of carbs for my dinner and it was lovely.
Excellent.
And my son ate chicken nuggets and chips. I was like, this is the Saturday evening like meal of champions. We all just had a different food that we wanted. Normally we all eat the same thing and we eat pretty healthily, but every now and again we're just like, what junk food do we all crave?
Yeah, here, especially now, we get what's called Chinooks. So we get really big swings in our temperatures and weather. So a couple of days ago, it was like 20 degrees during the day or 18 degrees. And the next day we had like 10 centimeters of snow. So that atmospheric shift, it causes migraines. So either you get them or you don't. And I do. And my husband always knows when I'm like that, I want McDonald's chicken nuggets and fries. But there's a hack. They say that all of the sodium in McDonald's fries plus the caffeine in the Coke, it's actually good for a migraine. And I always do feel better after. So
I've not thought about sodium. I get migraines, and I find that if I catch one early enough and have quite a strong caffeinated tea or something, it does take the edge off it. But I'd not thought about salt. Maybe I need to like add salt to my kind of migraine routine because I've got one right now actually, like on the cusp, and if I can catch it and go to bed, I'll generally be okay. But yeah, it's rough. It's so annoying. Like if you get a proper migraine, like it just kind of wipes you out, doesn't it?
yeah, and I get the vestibular one. So the headache is not so bad. It's the dizziness and the nausea and like all of that stuff that makes me feel crappy. So I'm hoping our weather is going to settle down, but we're supposed to get another 10 centimeters of snow tomorrow. So it's just like
Oh,
melt, snow,
really?
melt, snow. It's
Oh my
crazy.
gosh. I didn't realize it was that extreme. So like occasionally we get snow at this time of year. Like I remember my friend got married on Easter Sunday, like years back now. And she had snow. And in the UK that was, well, in England, that was really unusual. Yeah, my son would love that because we don't get that much snow
Oh,
generally, and he's always absolutely desperate for like a good that you could go sledging or build a. We can normally build a quick snowman and then it's melted by the time you get home from school.
you have to come to the good old Alberta mountains one of these days.
Do you know what I would love to? I need to like do a proper trip to Canada at some point because sorry, our Alexa was just making some random reminder. I finally got an Alexa and we use it to set reminders, but we're still kind of getting used to it. So every now and again, you'll get a reminder and you'll be like, oh, the thing I set a reminder for like a month ago is still like giving me a weekly reminder. Like we're just figuring it out. And it's quite funny. My son can operate it, but he'll try like talking a weird voice to see if she understands. So it'll bring up a song and you're like, song with swearing, quick, turn it off. Because he'll just say a string of words and it'll be like, oh, explicit lyrics version of, some rap song he'll bring up. I'm like, no. But yeah, it's quite good. We've never had one. Like I've kind of resisted and I feel like I've been missing out because I love playing music on it and it is great for the reminders. Like I do just say, I'll set a reminder for tomorrow or whatever. But then sometimes we get these weird garbled reminders as well. That's like a half formed thought like 2 weeks later. And I'm like, I don't know. And earlier, Kev was trying to get it to set one, and he was like really clearly saying 6 p.m. reminder for whatever. And she's like, oh, yes, I'll set a reminder for you for 3 p.m. tomorrow. And he's like, 6
No.
p.m. today. Yes, I'll set you one for 6 p.m. tomorrow. Yes. No. But yeah, it's all good fun. So yeah, that if anyone could hear random talking in the background, that's what that was. Happy birthday to your husband, says Stephen. Oh, do you know, they're just really debilitating. I'm really lucky that I get just ones that affect my head, but I get like in my right eye, I get this kind of pressure headache with mine. Is it an ocular migraine? I don't know.
Yeah,
yeah,
I get the ocular ones where I get the
yeah,
blind spot in the middle, and it's like a kaleidoscope around the outside.
yeah.
And they're just awful. I was coming home from work one day, I actually had to pull over on the side of the road because like I literally couldn't see out of one eye. It's scary. It's scary stuff.
Yes, I went through a phase of getting one every month reliably, like to do with hormonal shifts and stuff, and then I don't get them for a while, and then I kind of forget how bad they are, and then like today one hit me, and I'm like, or starting to hit, and I'm like, oh, I'd forgotten. Like, you kind of have preventative stuff, and you get in the habit of it, and then you get out of it. And yeah, I've got out of it. I think I need to go to bed. That's probably the best solution at this point. So yeah, I'm really glad that we've done like 3 sprints, 3 hours. I've been vaguely productive. You've been more productive, I think. But it's been really nice to catch up and see people chatting in the sprints. I feel like in the comments, I'm going to try and do them a bit more. I just need to figure out how to fit them back into my week again. But
Yeah,
thank
for
you,
sure.
everybody.
It's good because I wouldn't have sat down and gotten any writing done this afternoon. I would have sat in front of the TV. So
Well, this is it. And like on a Saturday night, like I don't want to do it every Saturday because, occasionally I do have a social life or, want to watch a film or something. But yeah, I think maybe Saturday's good because like international friends, it seems to be that obviously when we're in different time zones, we can do it. So maybe Saturday I'll try for a little while, but not every week. So yeah, thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, people in the comments. It's been really nice. I think I'm going to go to bed. So I will post on my social media when I'm going to do it again. So keep an eye out if you want to join us. And thank you, everybody. We'll catch up with you soon. Bye.
bye.